I sat alone on the leather couch, a glass of untouched bourbon trembling in my hand. The clock on the wall mocked me, each tick a reminder that my wife wasn't home again. The silence inside our house wasn't peaceful. It was the kind that screamed. I used to love this quiet back when it meant safety. Love. Now, it felt like I was holding my breath underwater, waiting to drown. The front door creaked open around 11:47 p.m. I didn't look up right away, though every muscle in my body stiffened. I knew the rhythm of her steps, the sound of her keys brushing against her purse, even the faint jingle of her bracelet, the one I bought her 3 anniversaries ago, back when her laugh still reached her eyes. She stepped inside like she owned the world. Heels clicked softly on the hardwood. Her perfume, sweet, floral, unfamiliar, hit me first. It wasn't the scent I'd bought her. No. It was someone else's choice. I stared ahead, waiting for her to speak, to confess, to stutter even the beginning of a lie. "Hey," she said, casual. Like nothing had happened. I turned. There she stood in a white silk dress I had never seen before. Low-cut, elegant, clinging to her body like it belonged there. Her lipstick was slightly faded, smudged at the corners. Her hair was tousled in that way women tried to make look effortless. But I saw the truth. She wasn't windblown. She was kissed, and touched, and loved by someone else. "How was your evening?" I asked. She smiled, so soft, so casual, so fake it made my stomach twist. "It was nice," she said. "Just dinner. Nothing exciting. Nothing exciting." Her cheeks were flushed. Her voice was syrup. Her skin glowed like she'd just come back from a paradise I wasn't invited to. I stood. Slowly. Did he enjoy himself too? Her lips parted slightly, but she didn't speak. Instead, she walked to the kitchen counter and placed her purse down with surgical care. Every movement of hers was graceful, rehearsed. Practiced deception wrapped in elegance. "Don't do this," she said finally. "Do what?" I asked. "Ask about your date?" She turned toward me, crossing her arms. "You're imagining things again." "No," I said calmly. "I'm not imagining the cologne on your dress. Not imagining the text you forgot to delete this morning. Or the fact that you left wearing jeans and a hoodie, and came back looking like a goddess who stepped off a yacht." Silence. She looked at me now, really looked, and for a fleeting moment, guilt crossed her features. Crack in her mask. "Why are you doing this to us, Emily?" I asked, voice lower. "Why him?" Her eyes dropped to the floor. She didn't respond immediately. And then, her voice barely above a whisper, she said, "I didn't mean to hurt you. But you did." She walked past me, into the living room, her heels echoing through my chest. She sat on the edge of the armrest, hands trembling now. She stared down at her painted nails, as if the answers were buried in the polish. "I felt invisible," she murmured. I blinked. "So, your solution was to make me feel worthless?" She flinched. Maybe the words finally hit her the way her actions had hit me. "You stopped touching me," she said, still not looking at me. "You stopped asking about my day. You stopped being present." My throat tightened. I wanted to shout that she was lying, that I had done everything I could. But part of me knew I'd withdrawn. Not because I didn't love her, but because I felt her slipping before she ever admitted it. "I was tired," I said. "I was trying to keep us stable. The mortgage, the bills, your car, everything. I gave you peace. You wanted fire." She looked up now. Eyes glossy, but no tears fell. "Not yet." He made me feel wanted. There it was. Brutal honesty. I walked toward her. Not because I wanted to, but because I needed to see her face when I asked the question. "Did you sleep with him?" She didn't answer. She didn't need to. I nodded slowly. The room spun just a little. The glass in my hand didn't tremble anymore. It was still. Empty. "I trusted you," I said. "With everything. My time. My name. My future." She stood now, inching closer. "It wasn't supposed to happen. But it did." "I don't love him." I laughed. A short, sharp thing that sounded nothing like me. Then what was tonight? A practice run. Her voice cracked. I was trying to feel something again. Then you should have talked to me. Screamed. Cried. Anything but this. She stepped forward again, closer than I wanted. Her hand reached for mine. I didn't move. I still love you, she whispered. That broke me more than anything else. Because I believed her. Somehow, despite it all, I still believed her. But trust? Trust was dead. And her smile, the one she wore as she came home from someone else's bed, had killed it. I didn't sleep that night. She did. I heard her footsteps upstairs, soft and slow, the way someone walks through a place they no longer belong in but aren't ready to leave. She closed the bedroom door behind her gently, almost respectfully, like that would erase everything. I stayed downstairs, lights off, bourbon warming my chest more than my soul. I stared at nothing, thinking about everything. That white silk dress haunted my mind like a ghost of who she used to be, who we used to be, and who I had to become now. She came down in the morning like it was any other Sunday. Sweatpants, messy bun, coffee mug in hand. Morning, she said, eyes trying not to meet mine. I didn't respond. Didn't blink. I just watched her move, as if the kitchen still belonged to her. As if I didn't watch her walk in 12 hours ago, glowing with someone else's lust still clinging to her skin. Are we going to talk? She asked, voice tight, uncertain. We already did. No, she said, placing the mug down hard. You talked. You blamed. You didn't ask why. I did. You didn't want the real answer. I stood. Walked toward the window. Rain tapped against the glass, a perfect rhythm to match the storm boiling inside me. Then give it to me, I said. The real answer. Why him? Why that night? Why now? She hesitated, and then she said it. I needed to feel wanted, desired, consumed. That word hit like a truck. Consumed. That wasn't about love. That was about raw hunger. About primal heat. About being touched and taken in a way she hadn't felt in years. I turned around, looked at her, truly looked at her. No guilt. No shame. Just exhaustion. Like she'd been carrying this secret for too long and finally set it down. It wasn't love, she continued. It was lust. I didn't even like him. That made it worse. She wasn't escaping. She was indulging. She wasn't falling for another man. She was running from the version of herself she became with me. I swallowed hard. Was he better than me? A flash of something crossed her face. Not guilt, not pain, something darker. Yes, she said, voice barely audible. But only in bed. Honesty hurts more than lies. It slices deeper because there's no denial to hide behind. Did you think about me while he was? No, she interrupted, voice sharp. That's the point. That silence hit harder than anything else. I walked past her, shoulder brushing hers, and went upstairs. I closed the door behind me. Not to hide, but to breathe. The next few days were limbo. We existed like ghosts in the same house, floating past each other, not quite touching, not quite leaving. I worked late. She stayed out. Neither of us asked where the other went. But I noticed everything. The way she wore tighter clothes now. The way she checked her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. The way she avoided mirrors in our bedroom, like she couldn't face herself. I started going to the gym again. Not because I wanted to impress her, but because I needed to remember who I was before I let love dull me. I began speaking with women. Smiling. Flirting. Testing the waters I hadn't touched in years. That's how I met her, Selena. Long black hair. Emerald eyes. A laugh like danger. She wasn't soft. She was flame. She made eye contact like she was daring me to look away first. And I didn't. We talked every night. At first, it was innocent. Then, it wasn't. She made me feel seen, in a way Emily used to. Before routines replaced romance. Before comfort killed curiosity. One night, after a workout, Selena leaned against my car, waiting. You thinking about her? She asked. I nodded. You think she's thinking about you? No. Selina stepped closer. Her breath hit my jaw. Then why are you still faithful to someone who's not faithful to you? I didn't have an answer. So I kissed her. Hard. Desperate. Her hands pulled me in like she'd been waiting her whole life. There was no hesitation. No shame. Just heat. And I wanted it. I needed it. I brought her home the next night. Emily wasn't there. It felt poetic, walking her into the same place my wife had returned from someone else's embrace. We didn't talk much. We didn't need to. Clothes fell. Time blurred. Skin met skin like a crash, not a dance. I wasn't gentle. She didn't ask me to be. I saw her, Emily, in my mind the entire time. But it wasn't about revenge. It was about reclaiming something she took without permission, my worth. When it ended, Selina lay beside me, smoking, smiling. You look lighter, she said. I did feel lighter. Because guilt never showed up. Emily came home 30 minutes later. Hair wet. Shirt loose. Same smile she wore that night. But this time, I smiled back. And for the first time, she looked afraid. She stood frozen in the doorway, hair still damp, keys dangling loosely between her fingers like forgotten promises. Her eyes darted toward the woman beside me on the couch, Selina, half wrapped in one of my shirts, calm as a summer breeze. No panic. No apology. She knew what this was. Emily didn't say anything at first. Neither did I. The air stretched thin, stretched tight, like something would snap any second. Wow, Emily finally muttered, setting her purse on the entry table. Didn't think you had it in you. I learned from the best, I replied, voice steady. Her gaze dropped. Maybe from shame. Maybe from the realization that the game she played so carelessly had rules, and I had started learning them. Selina stood up, pulled her jeans on, smooth and unbothered. I'll call you later, she whispered, kissing me lightly, not even sparing Emily a glance as she walked out the door. Emily watched her leave like she'd just lost something she didn't know she still wanted. So, she started, arms folded, bitterness rising. Now you're sleeping with strangers? No, I replied, standing. I'm sleeping with someone who actually looks at me like she wants me. Without faking it. Her jaw clenched. I didn't fake anything, she lied. Your moans said otherwise. She took a step back. For a brief moment, I saw something flicker behind her expression. Not anger, not guilt. Jealousy. Who is she? She asked. Someone who doesn't treat me like an option. You're trying to hurt me. No, Emily. You hurt me. I'm just responding to the wound. She sat down, suddenly looking smaller than she had all week. This wasn't supposed to go this far. You mean, you cheating, or me retaliating? She didn't answer. I poured myself a drink. Didn't offer her one. The silence stretched again, only this time it was mine to control. What did he give you that I couldn't? I asked, staring into my glass. Excitement, she whispered. Attention. He made me feel dangerous. Congratulations, I said. You set our life on fire for a little adrenaline. I didn't plan it, she replied. It wasn't some master scheme. But you kept going back. I didn't know how to stop. You didn't want to. She flinched. It was the truth, and she knew it. I saw your texts, I continued, turning toward her. The pictures. The things you said to him, about me. Her eyes widened. You went through my phone? After you came home glowing like a freshly lit matchstick? Yeah, I did. A tear slid down her cheek. The first real one in weeks. I never meant to humiliate you. But you did. I thought I could control it. That it was just a phase. Love isn't a light switch, Emily. You don't get to dim me when someone else makes you feel warm. She buried her face in her hands, sobbing now. I didn't comfort her. I couldn't. Because underneath all the pain, something else had started to bloom. Not hate, not quite. Clarity. And with that clarity came a question. Was this ever real to her? I need to tell you something, she said between sobs. I waited. The guy, his name is Adrian. We met 6 months ago. I nodded. I figured it wasn't recent. You got good at lying. He's married. I blinked. Married? I repeated. She nodded, ashamed. You were the other woman? I didn't know at first. He told me later. I stared at her, disgusted and fascinated. And that didn't make you stop? I thought he'd leave her. He promised he would. I laughed. Loud. Harsh. You destroyed our life chasing a man who couldn't even ruin his own marriage for you? She looked down again. He's gone now. She found out. Left him. He ran back to her. Told me it was a mistake. Shocking. I feel used, she whispered. No, Emily. I was used. You were just reckless. She looked up at me, mascara bleeding down her cheeks, lips trembling. Do you still love me? The question shouldn't have made me pause. But it did. Love doesn't survive in places like this, I said finally. Not without truth. Not after betrayal. But you slept with someone else. I didn't start this war. You ended it cruelly. No, I ended it honestly. You came home lying. I came home showing you the truth. She stood, slowly. Then what now? Divorce. I don't know. She walked over, standing inches away. You're not the only one who felt neglected, she whispered. You forgot how to touch me. How to want me. You stopped being the woman I wanted. She slapped me. Soft, weak, empty. I let it land. Do you want me to leave? She asked. I stared at her, feeling nothing and everything. No, I said. I want you to stay. And I want you to feel what I've felt. Which is unwanted, unneeded, replaceable. Tears streamed freely now. She turned and walked to the bedroom, each step heavier than the last. I stayed downstairs, heart hammering against the walls of my chest, not from anger, but from the realization that maybe, just maybe, the man she betrayed wasn't coming back. Because I'd changed. And she didn't even recognize me anymore. The following days were quiet. Not peaceful, just silent. The kind of silence that follows a storm where everything looks intact, but the damage is already done. Emily kept to herself. She still made coffee, still folded laundry, still existed in the routine of a wife who used to care, but there was a deadness to it. Like she was going through the motions because she didn't know what else to do. Or maybe, because she hoped pretending would somehow rewind what couldn't be undone. I didn't ask where she went during the day. She didn't ask about Selena. And that silence spoke louder than anything. I went to work like always. I smiled at people. I shook hands, gave reports, handled meetings. But all of it felt foreign, like I'd slipped into someone else's life, a version of me from before all this. Before betrayal stripped me bare and forced me to rebuild brick by brutal brick. One night, she cooked dinner. My favorite. She even lit candles. Chicken marsala, roasted vegetables, red wine from the bottle we'd saved for our anniversary. The one she never came home in time to share. Truce? She asked, sliding the plate toward me. I'm not at war, I said, cutting into the food. I just don't trust the peace. She gave a small smile. Tired. Fragile. I miss us. There is no us, I replied. I'm still here. And I'm still hurt. She reached across the table, fingers brushing mine. Then let me fix it. I pulled away. You can't. You don't want to try? I tried. For years. You only noticed when someone else started noticing me. She sat back. Eyes glossy. You're cold now. No, I said. I'm awake. The wine sat untouched. Her appetite faded with her hope. I'm not sleeping with him anymore, she whispered. I know. She blinked. How? Because you're still here. I could have left. But you didn't. And that means something, doesn't it? I stood. Walked to the window. Outside, a street lamp flickered, dim, then bright, then gone. I used to love how you looked at me, she said from behind. I used to love looking at you, I answered. That silence again, Deep, final, suffocating. She walked toward me, stood close enough to touch. You can punish me, hate me, sleep with 10 more women. But I still love you. No, I said, turning. You love the man who never questioned you. The one who trusted blindly. The version of me you knew wouldn't leave no matter how hard you pushed. She opened her mouth, then closed it. She knew I was right. I found the hotel receipts, I added. Her shoulders dropped. I didn't want to hide it anymore. You did. At first. But not after. You just didn't want to lose. She looked away. I spoke to his wife, I said next, voice calm. Her head snapped up. What? I found her online. Told her everything. Sent screenshot. She left him 2 weeks ago. You ruined his marriage? No. You did. She stepped back like I'd slapped her. He didn't even fight for me, she said quietly. He didn't need to. He already took everything. There it was, that final crack in her armor. The realization that she wasn't just a fling. She was disposable. Used. Like gum stuck to the bottom of a shoe. I should have felt satisfaction. Instead, I felt tired. I'm filing papers, I said. This weekend. Her lip trembled. Don't. It's already done. We can rebuild. No. We can survive. Maybe. But we can't rebuild something that wasn't real anymore. I made a mistake, she pleaded. No. You made choices. Again and again. Every time you snuck away. Every lie. Every smile you brought home from someone else's bed. Tears welled in her eyes. Please. I still want you. I don't want to be wanted by someone who had to lose me to realize my worth. She dropped to the couch, sobbing into her hands. I didn't comfort her. That man was gone. I walked to the hallway closet, pulled down a small duffel bag I'd packed 2 days ago. Where are you going? She asked between broken breaths. Selena has a place downtown. You're choosing her? I'm choosing me. She just happens to be where I feel free again. Will you fall in love with her? I don't know, I admitted. But at least with her, there's no lies between the sheets. She said nothing, just cried. And I let her. I walked out, bag over my shoulder, keys in hand, and never looked back. Not because I didn't care anymore, but because I cared too long. And when love dies, it doesn't scream. It just stops breathing.